Raves Podcast.
All right, Taaryn, we're rolling. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling pretty real this time.
That's
Everything's doing good. I think it's been a
oh
real
no,
long time since we've chatted, and I think that as long as things are kept, on a short time, the longer time we have, it'll be a little bit more real, and we'll have a good real discussion. So I think it'll be great.
a real discussion in time. Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna be
A
making that.
real in time.
We're gonna be having that joke a lot in here. I have a feeling. That's why I said, "Oh no." I was like, "Oh, you've opened Pandora's box."
Yeah, a quick little disclaimer for anybody listening. One big thing you're going to have to remember is that we are still children at heart, even if our IDs say differently. So we're going to just make sure that we are true and honest to ourselves and have lots of interesting internet humor. A lot.
Absolutely, gotta love it. So, first off, Taaryn, before we get into the topics here, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, just for those who are
Absolutely.
listening.
So I'm Taaryn. I'm a indie developer based in Los Angeles, and I've been doing indie game development for about a year and a half. I work more on a producing and management side, less than a coding or otherwise hands-on side. The hands-on I get mostly is I work with a big team, various different people on different projects, around 3 right now, which are the big projects, and I've done a bunch of different producing roles for different projects, mainly. For the big 3 things that you probably know me from, which is Five Nights at Freddy's in RealTime, which is a game that is a fan game of taking the first original FNaF with characters moving in the cameras instead of still, and then expanding with a story on top. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie game, which is called FNaF Movie Game, which is a very unique title, and it is instead of being 2D like RealTime, it is a 3D game, basically taking a whole new immersive environment and making something really unique. Hopefully that's going to be something that would be on akin to some other fan games in that scene. And then my newest project, Pinata Puppy World, which I'd love to chat about here a little bit too, which is great because I know there's some questions in here, and it's my new venture on what I want to do after doing 2 fan games and having one of them FNaF in RealTime that's releasing December soon. I can't necessarily say the date.
December.
I don't know if I can say the date. I mean, I could, but we'll see. Maybe you guys can retch it out of me. But we're really close. And so I've been producing for 3 games. I also produced and did music for 3 music videos, and I've worked on countless of other games and projects doing music as well. So that's what I'd be doing.
That's what you'd be doing. Taaryn, I'll tell you what. If you give us the release date, I will let my family go.
Oh my lord!
I'll let them.
Well, thank gosh.
Sorry, no, not my family. My family's good. Toby's family. I'll let
Oh,
his
that
family
makes more
go.
sense. Okay, I was
Yes,
gonna.
my
be
family's
like, I mean,
good.
Like, Toby's family deserves it more than your family.
I misspoke, but
It's on you. I already kidnapped his family last week.
it's like the Spider-Man meme. We're
The
just pointing at
tables
each
are
other.
turned.
We're just pointing at each other. This Spider-Man meme. Okay.
You don't understand. I've actually gotten both of your well, hold on, okay, hold on. And your dog too.
Oh, you can have Louie. You can have that demon.
You can take his dog. You can take his dog. Just don't take my
Thanks.
dog.
Take his dog. No, my dog's chill. You don't want my dog, but you want his dog. I trust.
You want Toby's dog, dude. You don't understand.
Okay.
I went to his house and Louis is a little monster. I'll say that.
Oh wow.
Little monster. He bit me.
Oh wow.
Little monster.
The dog.
Yeah, he's a little.
I walked
he's
up
a
the
little,
stairs and he's bit me.
He's just
a little-
hungry. It's not that big of a deal.
He's hungry.
He's a little. I think if I remember correctly, he's actually forgot his breed, but he's a little dog and he's actually a coward. He even nipped at my heels, but only when your back is turned to him and walking away.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, on the other hand, I have a dog named Rhodey, who is 11. No, sorry, he's 10 years old. No, he's 11 this year. And he is chill. You can tell which one's my favorite.
So, getting into topic number 1, I kind of wanted to ask how RealTime got started. Kind of tell us about the backstory and where that kind of came from.
Yeah. So
Or the whole
I've been
thing.
devel-
The whole thing.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
I've been developing the game FNaF in RealTime for I usually say a year and a half, but it's more like a year and a couple months because we started the development back in August of 2023. August 2023 was the 9-year anniversary of FNaF Freddy's, and spending some time with my friend. I mean, so hold on. I can give you the 5-minute version or like the 30-minute version. I'm gonna give you the 10-minute. All right.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna give a little bit more, but I'll try and keep it really concise. Essentially, I was playing FNaF Freddy's 1 with my buddy. His name's Roman, and we were spending some time just playing the original FNaF game, and I've always had this vision when I was younger, but I love the sort of something different about me compared to other FNaF fan game devs. So I think a lot of people like the horror. I think a lot of people like the scariness factor, and I've always loved the theming. One of the things I love about FNaF is I love when I first saw the original renders, I thought they were real. Like when I was a kid, I thought that FNaF Freddy's 1 was like these photorealistic images that were super creepy and scary, and it's almost like I thought what was scariness was the feeling of how much presence they felt, the sort of atmosphere that was unchanneled, and it's something that has always been in FNaF and specifically Scott games and things like that, and a lot of other early fan games. It's this feeling of even if they're still images, they still have this insane presence on the screen. And so that's why I think FNaF 1 is a genius game. I really don't think that there's any flaws with that game necessarily, even when there is. But my draw was I always thought, like, when I was a kid, I loved the idea of like, what if you could take something that feels that accurate, that realistic, and what's a way of turning that into seeing them move and like that sort of. I think I had two things. I had this feeling of I'd love to see them move because it was just a childhood dream of mine and a wonder of mine, and secondly, it's like the technological idea of it, because at the end of the day, Click Team is a pretty wonderful program that has lots of
limitations.
Limitation, right? And I wanted to challenge it. So when I was first developing RealTime, I remember essentially the idea was I want to create a game that is about how could we do the first game as a mod, right? And make it so that we can put animations in it and just have that be the whole gimmick, right? And that was the start of it. And so I reached out to two important people, Divian SFM and Mr. Freddy 64, which we know.
My goat. My goat.
Yeah. Click Team developer. When I reached out to Divian and Mr. Freddy 64, actually our original idea was to make an original game because we wanted to do a FNaF fan game that would be new and it would have a new character, meaning brother. And it would have, some sort of interesting storyline that doesn't necessarily revolve around FNaF Freddy's 1 or anything attached to the series.
Yeah.
But as we asked ourselves the questions, can we make them move? The idea came to mind of, well, hold on. If we can't prove we can make them move, let's figure out a way that we can test something. And so our test started from, what if we could just make a mod for FNaF 1? And if that's possible, right? And if we could do, and I know that you're wincing about it because you're already like, you can't make mods. You can't make mods. You're like,
I remember being the one who burst that bubble.
I remember. and so I never made a fan game before. I never made any sort of video game before besides Scratch when I was like 7 years old.
Hey.
Yeah, you two got some shared history there.
Right? I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you're a game developer and you didn't start with Scratch, I don't even know if I can trust you. I'm like, do you even know? Like,
Unless I was the only exception I can make is if I was before your time.
Python.
You start with Python?
Yeah, making.
You're like 5 years old, just like.
Games.
Oh my lord.
I have a script from 2017. It is the worst code you will ever read, and if you feed it to an AI, it'll probably crash it.
What I will say as well is the only exception I will make is if it's before your time. If you started programming like way back when, but if you're like in this generation, Scratch is a good place to start.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, because like Toby's so much like older and like super like just like almost like a grandpa at this point. So I mean, I get it. But
gray hairs, but I'm only 20.
That's 1 year older than me, buddy.
Wait,
anyways.
I'm older than you?
Oh, of course you are. Yeah. I'm 19. I only turned 19 like a couple of days ago. Yeah.
Oh, happy birthday! I turn 21 next month.
By the way.
Thank you. I started RealTime when I was 17.
Dang.
Yeah. Anyways, to add to that, I was just gonna say our goal was okay. If we want to make this fan game, we wanted to prove to us that we could make the animatronics move. So we decided to take the endeavor of what if we modded FNaF 1 to make animatronics move using an SFM to video pipeline using originally it was gonna be GIFs. Try to figure that out.
I actually remember that.
255 colors only. And so like trying to figure all that out. And so the idea was like we wanted to see if we can do that. And that's kind of where everything spiraled out of like is that we made this one shot that I had, and I remember I pushed it on Twitter, and this is my unknown Twitter account. I don't ever use that one anymore because I made like a business one now. And I remember that tweet got like 14,000 views. And now when you look at RealTime and you see how big it is, like the millions of views we get on trailers and stuff like that, which is of course insane. But to compare it to now, it's like obviously there's a big difference between where we started. But to me, that was like, I'm LeBron now. Like I was like 14,000 views. They all want me. No, but like that was my first ever experience with fame in any way. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, we have to do something with this. And so we very quickly started to pivot to the idea of let's do this real-time thing as our main game, and let's find a way that we can have the storylines connect to build a three launch game. You know, FNaF 1, FNaF 2, and then the fan game, which have the original characters, and like what's a way that we can transition that together. And so that's just where it started. It started off of that fun. It started off that high and that fun of like, oh, what can we do to make something really cool? And then it just kind of spiraled from there. And almost a year and a half later, I worked with Toby, regretted it. I worked with we pulled on like so many amazing collaborators, and it's truly been, I think, the best way of describing it is a journey, because it is fan game development, but it's also a lot more than a lot of fan game development, where it has to do with, usually it's a team, and usually it's more of a close team. And it was really about, what I loved was the joy of pulling in a bunch of different people. That's what I love about RealTime, and I think that's what makes it really unique. It's like, it might not be the best game you'll ever play. It's definitely not. When it compared to other fan games, it is definitely a little bit more on the humble side of not quite you know, like we're not direct creation or anything like that. But we did have so many people working on it, and everyone who's worked on it, from what I've remembered and what they've told me, have been enjoying the process, and that's what means something to me, is to collect everyone together.
Oh yeah.
So,
what I'll say also is the joy of creation is a pretty high bar to hit, so obviously don't put pressure on yourself.
That's the highest bar to hit.
It is. I played that demo, man. I still replay it on Steam Deck. I like when I'm at work on my break. Oh, it's so fun. I love it. I know Daco's charity stream's going on while we're recording. I can't wait for that reveal.
Right? Yeah.
But to say
Live
to
react.
that, live react. But what I was gonna say though is no, it's just really cool to hear your story and kind of see what you're doing, because I mean, RealTime has kind of had like a very up and down development from what I can tell, but it seems like you're at a place now where it's like almost time, and it's just kind of cool to see it kind of hit like the public soon, you know? It's exciting.
Thank you.
I'm happy. I'm excited for you guys.
I think it's been up and down. I think the truth is, it's just like a game like that is like it's flawed in its concept. All right,
That's
it is
a lot of
broken
games.
idea of a game. All right, it's like FNaF 1 in general is not a very well balanced game. It's technically, you could just cheat the whole game, right?
CD plus,
But it's
CD
like-
plus, CD plus.
See, but the fact with just working with video files, and, you know, we learned that now with doing 3D games now, is it's like, it definitely, you definitely have to add to the sort of feeling of, it's like, you know, it's not a perfect game. And so I think it's just apply that with life and other struggles. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna have up and downs, and I think the main testament is that you're always gonna have that with fan game development or indie game development in general. It's like any game development, it's not gonna be perfect. So as much as it could be perfect, it's like I'm really happy that no matter what, we still stuck through it, because I was really at a point where I was gonna not touch it again, and I was gonna let someone else handle that. And I'm glad that I'm back, at least. I'm glad we were able to figure it out in the end.
Yeah, that's
So,
really. Oh,
that's
sorry, go
positive.
ahead. No, that was.
Actually,
Oh, go ahead.
I actually remember. I remember it was actually Pablo who pointed me in the direction of your project. In fact, I dug these out of our messages. This is what got me into the server
Here,
there.
I'll put up on screen for our video
Join this.
viewers.
They want to speak with you. It's a cool project.
That was
connected.
it.
Yep, that's the screen. Let me put it on a screen for our video viewers. Continue.
I remember you mentioned you're working with video files now, which is, considering the smoothness of animations you want, is definitely the right way, because this is not just a click team limitation, but if you try shoving a bunch of uncompressed 720p frames into a... Oh, sorry, what?
No. I'm
Go ahead.
agreeing with you. I'm like, oh yeah.
Sorry. I thought you were telling me to shut up.
Shut up!
Like, no. But basically, my point is that when you start shoving a bunch of uncompressed 720p animation frames into a large, like, active object or animate sequence or whatever other engine it supports, that's gonna bog down your resources a lot. That's why we have video files. But I remember watching what I can only accurately describe as techno wizardry as you compress those files to get them running not as a video file but as an image sequence, because back when it was ClickTeam, we were experimenting with using Fusion's built-in function for loading ANM files, which is a function in Fusion where you can store animations externally. And the reason this was considered is because all Fusion games, you can't build a game larger than 4 gigabytes. But that's just the game exe. As long as you store those files separately from the build process, they were fine. So for a while, that was the solution you were going with. And the way you were compressing those videos and overlaying them, again, that's like levels of wizardry I'm not even touching.
Just pull up Host Shift 2 and just do multiple EXEs for one game.
Two separate EXEs. I think that's what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah. Do you want to know how big? So again, we have like probably double or triple the amount of animation files now than we started with, right? Do you want to know how big the file size is of the completed FNaF in real-time game?
Let's hear it.
600 megabytes.
What? Only 600 megabytes?
And there's 60 FPS animations in there. There's 10-second long. There's up to 40 seconds per like character walking down like a hallway. Like, and that's with motion blur. That's with reflections. That's with shadows. That's with overlaying perfectly with time intervals. We have a system, right, where when you walk down the hallway, right, if Chica walks down and Bonnie's about to walk down behind it, it can detect based off of time where Chica is, so it overlays them properly. So if you flip down the camera and just somehow Bonnie seems to be here, right, it'll know that because Bonnie is this far away on the timeline, right, an interval will go perfect. Okay, it's right here, right? Which means that Bonnie's in front of it. So the layering works perfectly.
Wait, out of curiosity, this is Unity now, right?
I say techno wizardry.
Dude, this is crazy.
Hang on. For video files, are you using WebM files?
Yes, we're using
WebM.
I
knew it. As soon as you said 600 megs, I knew you had to be using those.
Yeah, WebMs are the most awesome compressed things ever for what we need to do. They have alpha, and they also are extremely loading efficient.
I didn't know about the alpha, actually.
Yeah, no, okay, so that's the important thing, remember? It's like, all of them have transparency, which means that you can layer them, so you can just see 3 animatronics walking down the hallway at the same time, like, interact with each other perfectly.
So you can do, like, pre-rendered images, so you can have a pre-rendered hallway, and you can pre-render all your animatronics on top of said hallway?
Exactly, and then if you
That's
just
smart.
cut out the hallway with alpha, right, and you just get the shadows and the reflections on the ground, right, it means that looks like they're directly interacting in a 3D space, right, but just with a 2D layer.
Dude, that is so smart.
And instead of having, like maybe some I don't know, like 50 megabyte, like low poly character version, right? That isn't necessarily everything perfectly, right? And then a 4K texture on top, that's a whole nother like 3 megabytes, right?
Right.
The entire video of just Bonnie walking down himself, a 30-second video at 720, right? With motion blur and everything. And again, with motion blur, so you don't have to do that post-processing work, right? Is 8 megabytes.
That is so smart. I mean, I guess this pre-render kind of makes sense, but that is a really efficient way it sounds a lot more efficient than doing it in ClickTeam. I'll say that much.
Well, that's what we thought, right? And unfortunately, the thing that we learned is that no matter what, it is so expensive to hold video files of memory, and so that's the only thing that we've been running into recently. Is it's like on mid-range systems it runs good, on high-range system it runs good, but any low-end system it just tanks. And the truth is, as much as I hate that, it's also I have to address the fact that if we made it 3D, it would be the exact same anyways.
Yeah, so like, might as well have a decent PC to run it.
Or might as well. It's like there's only so much we can do.
There's controller support for real-time, right?
There is, and
it's gonna run on Steam. Have you tested on Steam Deck at all?
I don't think so. I think we're just trying to do Windows, Linux, and Mac for our first launch, and then if we ever want to expand, we'll have fun.
Because Steam Deck runs Windows games, so if you need me to test the Windows build on Steam Deck, let me know.
Okay. We'll talk.
Actually,
I see the way you stuck in there.
It's funny you mentioned video files because, this whole concept where people try and shove, at least with ClickTeam, I mean, you can do this with other engines, it's not just a ClickTeam thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to bat for the engine a little here, but basically, when you have just all those uncompressed things, when they're not a video file, so much more system intensive. So that's why like older games that did have pre-rendered animation sequences, a lot of those were like video files. You know, like I'm pretty sure Myst, you know, probably one of the, at least a decently well-known point-and-click game from the 90s.
Right.
Those were actually originally QuickTime MOV files. You know, they weren't pre-rendered. They weren't just uncompressed frames, because if they were, computers back then would probably explode trying to run that.
And see, that's really interesting, right? Because it's like, from what I know about the modern MOVs, from what I use, is they're usually used for uncompressed alpha. So I wonder if there used to be compression in MOVs. I never knew that. That's actually really interesting.
Well, actually, I don't know if it's any similar. I think you can like choose a level of compression.
That makes sense.
Remembering.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
My export options in Vegas correctly from.
Because I'm pretty sure you can get a lossless MP4 as well. It's just you use MP4 to compress. So I mean, I kind of get that. Yeah, I totally get that. What do you get next for? Were you just going down the list?
Yeah, sorry, I was just space. I was okay. I'll be honest. I kind of saw Daco's stream, and apparently he's playing Crab Game again. So I think Scott might be in there.
Crab Game.
Crab Game.
Actually,
I just got the notification.
Just for people to understand how, I'll send this later to Pablo so he can put it up on the screen in post processing. But basically, my game's main menu has a pre-rendered 3D animation sequence, that's about 30 frames. It's 1280 by 720p. The entire folder is about 29 megabytes. So, and that is for a 30 frame sequence that's just like basically a TV with a spinning gear and some static.
Make it a WebM. Make it a WebM. Send it to me. I'll make it a WebM. It'll be literally like 0.5. It'll be literally like 0.5 kilobytes, dude.
So I'm just showing, for example, how space efficient having something. I can't even imagine how many million times larger than that, how many more frames than that, in something only a fraction of the size of that.
I could tell you actually, the Bonnie walking down on its own, the 30 seconds, that's now 8 megabytes, right? Just the raw PNG, it's over 10 gigabytes.
Oh,
so
raw.
Dang.
Yeah.
Raw PNG.
So we turned like 10 to 8, like 10 gigabytes to 8 megabytes, right? So, you know, yeah.
Sounds interesting. That's crazy. Because I mean the file size, that just blows my mind. The way you guys are able to compress it so hard. I mean, good for you guys. I mean, for real. I commend you guys. Sorry, my brain's a little scattered. But seriously though, I'm gonna move on to the next topic. But I just want to say I commend you guys, because that's huge.
It was quite literally 6 to 8 months of work. So
I can imagine. Now, next thing I wanted to ask you was, what got you interested in game dev as a whole? Like, what started that kind of flame in you for that?
I think that the true thing is, funny answer, Lego Star Wars, and real answer, Scratch. So
Real.
Scratch is, I think, one of the biggest introductions for anybody doing game development. I think it's probably an essential thing to do just to get your brain wired for the logic. Game development to me is, I like making experiences more than I like making games, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
It's something that I enjoy more, and I think that's also why I think I'm really going to spend more time stepping out of Finance of Phrase, because there's a huge thing about gameplay, or mainly what I've been doing with FNaF Movie Game is I've actually been collaborating with a co-director to help me with the gameplay aspect, because I have a lot of great ideas, but they have more of the vision of, okay, this is what's going to make the game fun, this is what's going to make the game, things like this, right? And so that's what I'm bringing to FNaF Movie Game, where RealTime, my main drive was, I want to make something that visually has a sort of immersivity to it.
Absolutely.
I think when doing that is that's what got me into game development in general, was this sort of feeling of, I love games that have these cool ideas, these cool feelings, and what can I do to tell a story or tell anything like that, where the feeling that you're playing it is, that felt awesome, right? And I think the greatest games do that, and the greatest movies do that. So I wanted to find a way to merge that sort of feeling of, what do both of those things feel like together? And so that's what my whole journey with game dev will most likely be for the rest of time.
I love it, man. You know, I can see you got this kind of big passion in you. Like, you seem like you just love it more than anything else. Like, I know the feeling, because it's good to get obsessed with things like that. You know, it's good to find your thing and just run with it. So,
you need to.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, it was big because, I mean, I originally kind of said, like, that Minecraft was the reason I got into games, which is technically true. But then I didn't really start doing it until after I started playing FNaF, because, I mean, I started using ClickTeam. I was actually in elementary school, and I learned how to how to use Fusion for a science fair project, and I built my first app. I published it to the App Store the same year, and I just fell in love with it from there. But I did start with Scratch, but I was making a little Flash, but so I understand is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Anything to add, Toby?
I mean,
Yeah, put his ass on the spot, dude.
Well, I'm just saying the most impressive thing about both of you is that you've actually gotten things released. Because my problem is I have a million ideas and prototypes, at least in my head, but as far as what's actually gotten metaphorically from pen to paper or sprite to game screen is not as much as I would like. And Pablo's turning his head because he's thinking about the project that's been working in the works for 5 years.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
But I actually did play some of his older games recently. I asked him to give me the downloads.
Oh, so we told the story. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Wait. You want to tell him the ASU story?
Yep. You know exactly. So Taaryn.
Actually,
go ahead.
I'll start because first, Pablo in 2018 published a game called Animation Squad United. It was basically this game that was going to feature a bunch of different animation YouTubers, making their way through different levels. And in 2018, I was perusing Gamejolt, and just one day I decided to download this game, play it, and I didn't think much about it for the next 4 years, 5 years maybe, until I meet Pablo in 2022, and then the next year, he's going through his old games, or I'm going through his Gamejolt, I can't remember which one, and I happen to see something in his library that looked really, really familiar.
It's a bad game, by the way. It's a really bad game.
And that's when I realized he made this random game I played once, like 6 years, or at that point it was like 5 years ago, and I had no idea. We had no idea of this, and we would end up meeting each other. So I just kind of find that funny. I had interaction with his games before I even knew who the heck Pablo Ekman was.
It was terrible, but yeah, good times.
I mean...
What I was also going to say... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Toby.
No, you're good. Go
okay.
on.
What I was going to ask you next, Taaryn, is so what's been your best experience of working on real-time studio-related projects? So anything, real-time, movie game, anything else, like, what's been your best experience in all of it? Like, one highlight for you.
I raised $66,000 for charity.
There you go.
I worked with Daco, and our game was a $20,000 donation goal. It was the highest one out of all of the donations, which I thought was incredible. We did not ask for it. We were like, hey, Daco. It's interesting because those charity events, they take so much planning, they take so much behind the scenes work that when it comes to us, it's like we're not going to be involved in every single step of the process, right? It's like what we do is we provide a game, we provide the audience, right, and that's it, right? And that's as much as we can do, and that's as much as we deserve, right? Because we're a fan game, we're not with that same team of Pop Goes and Nixon that was there, part of that same charity stream,
right?
It's like we are different, and so the whole idea is like, okay, we're gonna just try and provide as much as we can and keep things like that. And so when we first reached out to him, and I was like, hey, is there anything we can do? We can provide this demo for you to play, right? He said yes. He said he'd love to do it, and then we basically just were like, okay, listen, we got this build. We're gonna send it to you the minute that we hit whatever goal you want us to hit. Just let us know what the goals are a couple days in advance. Let's figure it out, right? Literally, I think like 2 days before the stream, right? He publicly announces the goals because he always does that, like 2 days before the stream. Like he always, I think, either figures them out at the end or has them and then just likes to do the public reveal, right? But he never told us beforehand. So I see a Johnny Blocks tweet that says, "Look at the cool new FNaF in real-time demo goal, which is $20,000." And it's the biggest above Pop Goes, above freaking Joy of Creation.
There
and
you
we're
go.
right here at the top, and it's like, here's the final one. Here's the expectations of the final one. And we're just like, oh my, we are freaking out, like we are scared shitless.
I can imagine. It's like, oh my god, this is so cool, but pressure, like, I understand.
And I mean, we're honored to be 20,000, right? And I understand that we had an actual demo goal, and so that does mean a little bit different compared to like teasers or things like that. But like to me, that was such a moment of like joy of being like, we can really make a difference, and like that's something that if we hit that goal, it's like that's an accomplishment that we've done. but it's also the fact that we need to meet that, right? And so that was a whole nother level of stress.
Well,
But it has to be my favorite thing because we hit $20,000 for that donation in 2 hours.
yeah.
And that is incredible. And I everyone who donated that's amazing. And I'm very I'm very humbled by that. And then what we did afterwards is I worked with the developer Dottie, who made FNaF Rewritten, and she's an incredible developer. And so we had this idea where what if we on our own, besides with Daco, like Dottie came to me and be like, hold on, what if we did our own our own fan game things? Like, what if we just got a bunch of fan game developers and we decided to, alongside Daco, say, hey, if you donate more, the next goals that we'll get, we will on our own release some cool fan game thing, right?
Yeah.
And it was Dottie's idea to do that, and I believe it was my idea to reach out to Daco and be like, why don't we just do that with Daco himself? Like, because the way that I see it, it's like Daco has the platform and he has more like that, and it's like, we have our own platform, but it's like we have fans across, and this is bigger fan games that have a big group that they might want to see more. And so I thought there could be a way to possibly just get more money flowing to PCRF, and if we could do that, like that, the whole idea was like if we could channel that and we could get that sort of attention from us, it's like that was the goal. And so we collaborated with Indigo Park, Mason, Unique Geese.
Yep.
Indigo Park, we collaborated with Kozovsky from The Return of Bloody Night.
Spikes Ahoy too, right?
Yes, and Spikes Ahoy, of course, right? And then FNaF Rewritten with Dottie. And so we just tried to get as many as we could to see if we could possibly hit some goals. And that turned into getting a $10,000 donation from one of the people that we included in that, because they had this really big game. And I'm just I think about the FNaF community and how incredible they are to raise such an insane amount of money like that. And I'm truly honored by the opportunity that Daco gave us. And so that was really incredible. And so that has to be, as much as I'd love to say, oh, the Tryhard Ninja song, like it's awesome, but it's like,
I know what you mean.
There's a difference, right? There's a like this will always have the most impact that we've ever done, and that to me is the most incredible thing that we could do. But then once this is off its pedestal, it's like, okay, what's below it? I'm like, okay, then I have to, all right, I gotta say the Tryhard Ninja song is pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, someone explain what that is, because I feel like I'm a little behind on this one.
Oh, you're a little behind. I made 3 songs with Shadro, AP Angry Piggy, and Tryhard Ninja, and so we have a song called Born in 1987, which is a 6-minute song, fully animated in SFM, which is about the origins of Brother, and it has AP Angry Piggy, Shadro, and Tryhard Ninja on it. And it is an awesome song, and I was working on it for like 9 to 10 months, and we got it together and we released it as a storytelling thing for some background to FNaF in real time. Now the music video isn't canon. The music video isn't canon. The music video has all of our OCs like doing goofy stuff in the pizzeria. But the song itself is canon, but not the music video. So like when people are like, I knew Taaryn was in there, I'm like, no. Why not?
It's a self-insert.
Not again. No. Where's that question on there? Hold on. Dude, Taaryn jump scare. White guy jump scare. That's definitely terrifying.
There he is.
White woman now using white guy.
Oh my gosh. So, next thing I wanted to ask you here is so I want to talk about the fan game scene in general. So this podcast is very oriented around indie games as a whole, so fan games are a part of that. So I kind of wanted to ask you, I want to talk about the fan game scene, how awesome it is. It's very, very full of just amazing creators. And I wanted to ask, are there any specific fan games out there, like other ones that you kind of want to talk about, shout out, or just like give some love to?
Yeah, let's talk shout outs. Yeah, for sure. I think overall the fan game scene is it's diverse. It has a lot of different the realm of like the different projects that people care about it is amazing. Like there's projects where there's the Fazbear Tycoon where you can build your own pizzeria, which I know the guy who did that. There is games like we can talk about the games that have gone places financially, like things like Joy Creation, where it have been a part of the fanverse and things like that, or Pop Goes or Candies, where they've gotten official titles where they have a certain tone to them and they build their own worlds, right? And then there's also games that go in a completely different direction where they still keep some of the horror, but they bring into this really creative side, like Playtime with Percy.
Yeah.
It's getting a Steam release.
I was gonna say that needs a Steam release, so
it's getting a Steam release.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like Playtime with Percy or things like that, where it's like it walks the line between what is a fan game and what is just an original concept that's inspired, right? Which I think Playtime with Percy does a wonderful job at. And then there's also things like it just you get a span of so many incredible things, and so those are things that people have talked about before. But I want to talk about more indie projects that I've heard about in the fan game scene, and I have to acknowledge. The people I've worked with the most has to be JD Bryant and Dottie from FNaF Rewritten and JD Bryant from Blood and Gears. I've been working with them since forever, and when it comes to downloadable Windows games, and I'll get to that in a second, Blood and Gears seems to be a really promising game, and it has a really wonderful team behind it, they've been doing this sort of like idea of like what they would do their own FNaF 1 side of styled thing, and it feels really accurate to some of these old Chuck E. Cheese ideas, but it still keeps it really fresh and unique. They have such an amazing art direction and ARG going on that it needs to be studied. Like it's really phenomenal.
Blood and Gears is incredible. I love Blood. I played it on my Steam Deck. Like that segment with the arcade cabinet. That's such a cool segment.
Wow, that song's so cool, man. If only some.
No,
and then FNaF Rewritten
cool,
is yeah, thank you. And the FNaF Rewritten is by Dottie, and she's a wonderful developer, and she has like this incredible vision for FNaF Rewritten and does all this incredible work, and also this charity work, by the way. After Dottie worked with us with charity, Dottie did this whole thing of trying to release the FNaF Rewritten models for charity, and that was, I think, an awesome move, and I'm very proud of her for doing that. Like that was really cool. And I'll always hold that as a good moral of like that. This is the best of the fan game scene right here is to take whatever, any sort of thing that you have and trying to share it for the greater good. Like that's what fan game is about. It's about sharing what you love, and using that and having that be a part of charity is that's God's work right there.
That is huge, man.
Yeah, and FNaF Rewritten again as a game is really phenomenal and everything like that. And the only last one I would say is. Fractured Franchise is a Roblox game that I don't think the Roblox scene doesn't get a lot of love sometimes. They have these incredible 3D full immersive worlds where you can roleplay and play as characters, and they have things like the Pizzeria Roleplay Remastered is the people who donated $10,000 for the charity stream as one donation, and like these people they have this great heart to them, and I think that those Roblox games, those are like some of the most immersive experiences I've ever experienced in FNaF. It's like one of the things about me, as I said, is I love theming, so it's like I love the scariness and I love some of the like the spookiness, but it's like I truly believe that when you do a Roblox game that has this sort of immersivity, it's something you can never capture with anything else that like Roblox or Minecraft, where it has that sort of free roam sandbox feeling. It's like they do that incredibly, and with the visuals that they have, it's really a special thing. I don't think people will acknowledge that enough. So that's what I think.
No, the people at Spawn Point are incredible. I mean, I watched that first trailer for Fractured Franchise. The music based on like the movie theme. I was like, dude, this is impressive. Like I was really impressed with that. I think the map is really cool too. So I mean, but then the impact you guys have as well is just like. It's really cool to see, like, you guys aren't just making fan games, you guys are making games people, like, care about or are excited for, and you're also making, like, you're building community, like, I have a lot of respect for that.
Thank you.
That and, like, the charity stuff, too.
Yeah, I think that's really what it's about at the end of the day. I think that FNaF fan games, you should be making a game for what you want to do, which is something fun. It shouldn't be stress, it shouldn't be for some other big, serious ideas. It's like, if you want to take it seriously, I think you should. It's like if you want to take a game seriously, you want to have it be something really big, and you want to like have it maybe like aspire to be something really cool, like like a Steam release or something like that. You should totally do that.
Oh yeah.
It's like I think you should market your stuff how you want to. It's like, but that's all part of the fun, right? But if the people who you're working with, if they're not having fun and they're telling you they're not having fun, and you're like, no, you do your thing, it's like that's where you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's where you're not doing it right. It's a fan game, and at the end of the day, it should be fun, right?
Absolutely.
And so. If you're not a fan of what you're working on, then you can't call it a fan game. I'm sorry, it's just
work. For me, my philosophy has always kind of been, if you're not having fun working on a game, the players are not going to enjoy your game.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like that's
what I'm saying.
I feel like that's what I think. Like, I mean, if the players are only going to enjoy what you're making if you had fun making it. If you didn't like making it and you just put it out for the sake of putting it out, they're not going to have fun with it. They're going to be like, okay, cool, this looks great. Like like any AAA game you see like on the big PS showcases, maybe not all AAA. I'm sure there's a lot of ones, but a lot of those ones seem like they're just crunch time to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
Like,
see what you're saying.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not in the AAA, but like, I love a lot of certain. Like, for example, I love the Insomniac Spider-Man games. But I guess my big example is like the Call of Duty games. Like they're fun sometimes, but they're just a lot of like I have a feeling there's probably a lot of crunch there. You know what I mean?
I think if you can see the release dates and you can see how certain things like span out, you can only theorize like how
Absolutely.
development can be. But you hear all these stories about how development is crunch time, or how as much as this game was fun and like people are enjoying it, it's like these developers suffer from it behind the scenes, and it's like I think that I wish that people in that bigger position of money and stuff like that, where they have the way to delegate and stuff like that, it's like I wish that those companies and corporate would actually understand that concept of the fun that developers get to put into the game will react with it. And it's like that's why at the end of the day, unfortunately, you actually get to see indie developers create fun, more amazing games. And Toby's absolutely fucking tired of my shit on that.
No, not you. No,
I know, I'm
no.
playing with you, dude. I'm playing with you.
What I will say is like that's why. Okay, this might be a hot take. Probably not. I don't know, but maybe is that like. That's why indie games are just more fun. They're just cooler in my opinion, because I feel like so many AAA games kind of do the same, not the same thing. I'm not trying to like invalidate them. I know there's a lot of cool stuff that goes into indie games. Sorry, yes, but AAA games. But like, I just feel like indie games are they're just more unique. Like I mean, I look at these like big Nintendo Directs, PlayStation's like showcases, whatever, and I'm just like, okay, cool, but this has ray tracing and like it's a cool walking sim, but like where's the unique gameplay? You know what I mean? I'm not saying all games. I'm not trying to bash anything. I'm just saying like that's why I love indie games, because like there's so much room for unique concepts, and that I just feel like indie devs have more fun than big studios have sometimes.
To it.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to bash anybody. That's my perception, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. By the way.
No. I think the insight to that is definitely the idea of that indie game developers create games because they love it,
Absolutely.
And where a lot of other sort of corporate games, as much as they will love creating it, the concept doesn't necessarily have to do with here's a great concept and let's make it because we all love it. It's because they're hired to and they're paid for it, right? It's just a difference of motivation, right?
Absolutely.
Where at the end of the day, as perfect as an indie game like can be, right, and as perfect as a AAA game can be, the difference of just seeing directly where the idea concepted and then went to fruition with an indie game developer, there's just a difference.
Oh yeah.
Right? So
one thing
I think that's the testament to indie games.
Yeah, one thing I'll say is when I was at PAX West, dude, the Steel Wool devs are like a shining example of a good studio. They are so nice. They're so friendly. I mean, I was talking with Sauce, and then I met J-Top as well, and I was also, when I did the Secret of the Mimic demo, their devs that were doing the playtesting, like handing the headset to people, they're so nice, dude. Like, they have such a good culture. Like, you can just tell that they just love what they do. Like, they're in the perfect spot as far as I can tell. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's crunch sometimes. It's just how development goes with big projects. But, like, you can just tell that they're happy to be in the spot they're in, and I just have so much respect for them.
Absolutely.
Like, I love Steel Wool, man. I love Steel Wool so much.
I think that's what makes indie studios amazing. Is it's like I wish that it could be the same for bigger companies, but it's like, again, the closer you are with the people, that is how you're going to create a good environment. So
Absolutely. So the next thing I wanted to touch on, so I want to talk about the music on RealTime, because I know you're very good with music, and you've obviously talked about the music videos you've done. Tell us about kind of your creative process as a musician a little bit.
Yeah, actually, I think an insight that I don't tell people that much is actually so I make all the music on my project, right? So for FNaF and RealTime and things related, RealTime Studio, I'm the main music guy. Sometimes we pull on other people for solve specific things, right? Because again, I love the collaborative aspect. That's probably my favorite thing about RealTime and RealTime Studios is like we work with a lot of people. But I do have to say that like when it comes to me making music, I have a certain, as you're saying, like there's a process, right? And it's all about like a certain vision to me. What I use is I actually use this tool called Beatbox, which is this website tool, and it is all online. And the main thing that I use that for is because I personally find that the chiptune aesthetic and style fits with classic FNaF, right?
Yep.
And so that's the sort of thing that I think is awesome, is that it feels dated. It feels dated, but it doesn't feel perfectly like 1990 because it's not. It isn't 1990. It's this 2000, like late 2010s sort of like inspired mishmash of ideas.
That was my first DAW. That was my first DAW.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that a lot of people, they use it for this sort of, they make very much chiptune line Japanese, you know, sort of like vibes, and like they have this sort of like aesthetic to it, right? Where you have this certain style, not a lot of Western influences, where I feel like I like using it almost like instruments, right? Like I like using it orchestra, and I like bringing in my Western influence from my music, right? And using that tool to kind of build more conventional songs, build more like pop, contemporary is what I was looking for. Sorry, like make more contemporary music, right? Because to me, it's like, I think using a DAW like that and using that sort of genre to do sort of storytelling with that way, that's really unique. I don't really see it a lot. I see that only with Toby Fox. But again, Toby Fox, he still has a lot of those Earthbound influences, you know, adds a lot of these other backgrounds to it that come from different cultures and things like that, where I specifically have, just from where I've raised with, I have a lot of that pop influence as well. I have a lot of that California influence. I got a lot of that. And so to bring that in with my music, it's like, that's why I've made songs like inspired by Depeche Mode, inspired by like Five Nights at Freddy's in general, as its topic, and inspired by other chiptune and things like that. It's like, I feel like I can bring this sort of level of this really unique soundscape that when you listen to it, you're like, oh, that's not just a Taaryn song, that's from FNaF in real time. You know, it's like that has this sort of feeling of Five Nights at Freddy's, but also has this feeling of this specific fan game, which I think is what really kind of defines things. And you know, it's all about getting good melodies, but getting good atmosphere, and how do you make it sound like it's a part of that project. And one of the things you'll notice is that working on FNaF Movie game, the soundtrack sounds distinctly different, and I'm still making it, right? There's a lot of more influence on real instruments. There's a lot of influence on what does it feel like to make more ideas of exploring with FL Studio, because what I do with RealTime is I mic everything in Beatbox, I export it all, and then I mix it all in FL Studio, because Beatbox is terrible at mixing, and so you need proper mixing, you know, like you need something proper. And so, you know, like that's kind of my thing for that. But then for FNaF Movie game, I try and do almost everything in FL Studio, because I specifically want to have a different headspace, and I want to have a different creative direction control on that, you know.
Absolutely.
That's what I like.
Yeah, because actually I also used Beatbox, but I had no sense of, I mean, I don't have the best sense of musical direction now. Like, if I've made some tunes, but if I need anything for a game, I ring up Pablo, because I do not have the skills for that. But I did try making some stuff back in like 2017 and I think probably 2018. And believe it or not, I think I actually still have some of the links, because for anyone who doesn't know, Beatbox, you can actually, as long as you have the link to your song, you can open it no matter what, because it's basically stored. The entire song is stored in the URL of the window. You know, you'll notice there's this really long I think it's like hashtag sign. There's a bunch of numbers and letters, because it's literally stored in the address bar. So I found the old links, and I actually still had some, but they were terrible. And if you want to know exactly how terrible, you can click this link after our meeting, but only if you want to have your ears just not only if you want to have a desire to rip your ears off.
I'm ready. Actually, I just sent in the link to You Made a Monster, the Triad Ninja song that I did. Probably you can click on it, and that actually has the Gembox link, which is a modded version of Beatbox, because it's like.
Oh yeah.
Here, let me share my screen. We'll pull this up on the podcast real quick for those watching.
Okay. Yeah, there is so much more.
If you heard my Tryhard song that's on his channel called You Made a Monster, this is the original file, and so of course you could hear the difference of in the actual song, everything's mixed in properly, but you know, this is where it came from. So
Let's give it a listen to this. Oh, hang on. I'm so used to space. Yep, I remember you showing this to me. I think it was in a VC at one point too.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Before I got my PC cleaned and all that one time.
Oh wait, you mean the time I cleaned it, or the time that?
The time I sent it to Best Buy.
Oh yeah, because his PC's been cleaned twice. One time when he took it to Best Buy, and then when I showed up there a few months ago, and it was so bad that I cleaned his desk, and upgraded it.
Yep, I needed it.
Wow.
But what I'm gonna say, Taaryn, is these. I love the slide notes. Like I play with them in FL.
It's the nicest thing ever. Dude.
Slide notes are so fun.
Yeah, if you press S, by the way, you should be able to solo that track, I believe.
Oh, wait, on here?
You need to, yeah, I believe if you press S on your keyboard, but if it doesn't work, you're gonna need to enable channel muting. But
I haven't played with beatbox in so long, so forgive me.
There's so much to it. It's pretty nutty, but you can do a whole range of stuff. So it's like for example, if you want to pull it up on the stream just for one quick second, just so we can.
For sure, yeah.
I'll send you this this other track that has that like specifically has just like what I would call sort of like the difference that you can really do by just exploring some of the things in beatbox. So I'll show you this. This is a track that let me see this first. Sure it's not good. This is a track where I specifically use strings and the power of mixing in like as much as you can do, right? To do and one custom sample. So you can take a listen to this. This is just like how wide a variety you can get. So you can limit it like
let's have a listen. Majestic.
I did not even. Wow. Okay, you can get a lot out of this. Wow. I mean, obviously this is a modded version, but it's still kind of crazy seeing the little, as far as I was concerned, the little beat boop program do things like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for
you
sure.
got a knack for it, man.
You can. I think what it is it's like with any tool you can get, you can expand it to insanity. Like you would never believe it, but like almost. I can almost guarantee because hip hop is the most popular genre, right? It's like almost probably all of modern hip hop is made in FL Studio, right? And so like just the fact that you can get that like what's most modern is like you like the projects that, like the DAWs that you might think are like used for just indie development or just people who are figuring their stuff out, right? It's like you don't realize how much of like that is what people use. Like that's what you hear on the radio. It's like, oh, like Old Town Road, that's FL Studio. Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know. It's like, I mean, Old Town Road might not be, but like I don't know. But it's like essentially it's like it's like a lot of that is used on the DAWs that you probably use. And beatbox is definitely an exception, but I want to try and stake a style that I think is really unique, and that's why I like using beatbox, because I get to do something unique that's different to me. And this is what I was talking about, guys. All right, look at this. Look at the ash, baby, dude.
Oh yeah, there it goes.
But Taaryn, I'm gonna say this. I definitely think that your style, you have achieved that style, that kind of uniqueness. But I do want to tell you one thing about this. I hope you know I'm gonna duplicate this later and turn it into a Megalovania high quality rip later.
No, I'm down.
Actually, I made this in December of 2022. I made this this little derpy song called Derp. It was just this little thing I made for fun. But I gave him the project files, and one of the first things he did when he had the correct tone for and what instrument was used to make the music, he immediately used it to make a Megalovania. Immediately.
You should pull up that wave on the stream.
I just started listening to it, but I'll put it on screen share so we can all hear it. Hang on, let me just It's a full.
It's born in 1987, dude.
I love the drums. That's actually not bad. I love that.
No, hold on. Skip ahead a little bit. Hold on. You'll understand. It's literally born in 1987.
Yup. Man's doing the Gmod dance. Dude, I love that. That is insane. Thank you.
I just got bored one day, dude.
Is this the first time this has ever been shown publicly? This Megalovania?
I think I made a tweet about it one day.
Okay. Well, we're gonna resurface it now that we just resurfaced it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 7 people who saw it. You're right. Like it.
Yeah, literally.
on the Twitter post, it's like that got like no views, dude.
No, I love that though. That's a banger. What I was so real quick, so to kind of wrap up that topic, I was gonna say, so to add on what Toby was saying with that Derp remix, so I did a little mini 2 song single. So he did another song called Destroyer that I ended up remixing. And I kind of
Oh,
want,
yeah, that one.
I want to show you. I gotta like fix something. Hang on, my screen share's like lagging
I'm
for a
ready. I'm
second.
ready.
But I gotta pull up
You
this
made it.
because
Actually, I think you should. Actually, I don't know what you should show first because his remix. This is one of the songs I actually really consider like a song. I made it as almost like a personal boss theme. Because he has me nicknamed on his Discord as Toby the Destroyer of Worlds. So I made a theme called Destroyer at the start of this year, and he wanted the source file, so I gave them. It's actually really funny. I make my songs in FL Studio 9, so he had to downgrade the last available FL Studio 32-bit version because some of the plugins were 32-bit only. But either way,
why are you like stuck in like 2009? Like I don't get
in
it.
my
It's like,
defense, Taaryn, in my defense, I'm now running Windows 10.
oh,
For now.
congratulations!
For now.
10. Thank gosh, at least 10.
But anyway, to what I was saying, once he got his hands on it, he remixed it and turned it up to like 11.
so here's the so this is part of my live set that I did when I went to MTAC in Middle Tennessee
I know
Anime
what this is.
I did this. I did a live set with this, but I transitioned from a FNaF remix to the Toby Destroyer theme, and you'll hear it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I know exactly. I remember this video. Actually, fun fact: the image in this video we joke it almost killed me.
Yep.
Oh.
Not literally, but what happened was I laughed so hard that I didn't breathe in, and so, like, the second I stopped laughing, my blood pressure dropped for, like, a split second, and my head just went like...
I'm so ready.
I just died, I almost died laughing.
There it is.
That was my old
He's
profile.
evil! He's evil! That's crazy!
When I saw this image, I actually... Literally, I laughed so hard.
Listen to this.
Thank you. This is called Destroyer.
I laughed so hard I went lightheaded and my head went like this.
Yep.
On my desk.
I was there. But the build up here, I'll show you that and we'll move on topics, but I think you'll like this build up here.
I still actually think the original Destroyer was, you know, not terrible, but this one is like the definitive edition.
Anyways, so that's that.
Sandy.
Thank
yeah,
you.
the reason he could, and I mentioned the reason he could remix it so effectively is because I just gave him all the source files. I was like, here, because it makes it easy.
Amazon.
It's just like, why do you have to recreate MIDIs or do anything like that? Here, I'll just give you the source files. It makes it easier because I think you wanted to remix it, so I was like, okay, I did. Fine. But you also got to downgrade your FL Studio version.
Yep. But I was gonna say it, by the way. Okay, so yeah, downgrading was fun. But I will say, I definitely want to pivot to this next topic here. I was gonna say, what was your biggest challenge with any of your projects? Like anything you've ever worked on, what was your biggest challenge?
Yeah. So, do you know how hard it is to put a .webm inside Unity? Like, dude, like, hold on. Like, it took, so when I said it took us 6 to 8 months, right? I'm not lying, all right? Literally, we were trying to figure out the kinks and get everything to work, not just work, but also hopefully be optimized enough, right? Because there's only so much you can do, right? To try and get all of that working enough, right? It took us literally 6 to 8 months to just try and like we pursued like 3 or 4 months of Click Team, and then we did another 4 months of Unity, and it was only when we were able to get a confident space, which was after the Daco demo, right after it, is that when we were finally like, okay, we're pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And that's when we're like, we'll assemble the game, and then we had all of our animations done, we had everything ready, we had it all exported correctly. It's like we got it to work enough, right? And so that's when, you know, recently we've just been, you know, making sure everything is even extra polished, extra everything. And I'm really proud of what we have for FNaF RealTime right now. But it's like, dude, it took us so long. And it's like, and that's the thing that also, it's like, it hurts so much to hear from people when like the demo came out buggy, is because if it ran smoothly, people might have decided to look a little bit into being like, how did you guys do this? Like, how did that work out? But because it just didn't, the intervals weren't correct and things just didn't line up perfectly right, people played it and they couldn't even have a good standpoint where they can ask, how much effort did this take? They went like, I don't see the effort. And that sucks because we put literally 6 to 8 months effort of just hardship, like not even fun programming the game, just trying to get the WebM source.
Just struggle, right? Yeah.
We started from PNGs to JPEGs to freaking anim files to freaking GIFs, right? And then we went we tried MP4s and that wouldn't work with transparency. We're like, it doesn't matter, right? And then we tried WebMs, but hold on, WebMs have VP8 and VP9. You need to differentiate. Okay, let's get it with some, we'll get it, we'll use VP8 fine. Then we'll use what was it, Vorbis audio? You can't use Vorbis. You have to use I mean, I think it's the other way
Okay, but
around.
have you tried MS Paint
you
drawings?
that's not a bad idea. But like, no, but it's like
tried a sprite.
and then you need to like figure out also the idea of like, okay, and then there's the layering, and then there's the optimization. How do we play it through the GPU? How do we make it so that they specifically can have? Remember when we were trying to figure out dual core processing for the WebMs, and we were trying to reach out to Fee for that click team support.
I remember that now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love
And
Fee.
so
Shout out to Fee.
That's when
I don't think
we
it was dual core. I think it was multi-threaded.
multi-thread. Sorry, thank you. Yes, sorry, multi-thread. And so it was multi-threading. We were trying to figure that out for the WebMs, and if we could do that, we wouldn't have any lag spikes in ClickTeam. And unfortunately, it never got to figure it out because we didn't have the budget to talk with Fee or anything like that. So there's only so much. But I'm glad we switched to Unity because it's all worked out in the end. But dude, that is definitely the biggest challenge, is to deal with that. So yeah.
I remember when Unity had the runtime fee, they finally went back on. That was such a scary time for me as a dev. I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm ever gonna hit this download count. But if I do, on any game I ever make, that's not good because money. But then also I remember.
Meanwhile, I was just laughing over here in perpetual license land with my click team and my 2D games.
Perpetual license land is insane.
Yeah, it's a shame that more companies don't do that. It really frustrates me, like, a lot.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, it was one of the deciding factors when I purchased Fusion. It was like, because Game Maker didn't have a permanent license option. But yeah, I'm so glad they went back on that, because, oh my goodness, that was gonna... In fact, it was... If you guys remember... I mean, for anyone who doesn't know or was somehow under a rock during that time, it got so bad that Unity's policy change, it was causing, like, these very prominent developers, like indie devs, to start donating to other game engines, usually open source game engines, in protest of Unity's choices. We're like, okay, we're gonna fund your competition.
Godot coming in clutch.
Actually, Godot has... I swear Godot has support for either Vorbis or WebM files. I swear they do.
Yep.
Yeah, so Vorbis is the audio codec that's used in WebM. So the whole thing is, it's like, you need to choose between what works, VP8 or VP9, and that also has the option of Opus and Vorbis. And so we had to there's only one specific thing. It's VP8 with Vorbis that only works with Unity. You can't do VP9, which is more compressed and better. You have to use VP8, and so it's like, it's like,
yeah,
dude, freaking jump scare on the camera.
Taaryn jump scare. Someone mod that into RealTime now.
Yeah.
Mod the mod.
You just replace the MP4 file of the Bonnie jump scare and just have it be.
Well, have an Easter egg. Well, it's like the Wolverine jump scare from Deadpool Wolverine jumping through the windshield, but it's just Taaryn. But what I was gonna say is, so real quick before we move on to the next topic, I want to say one thing. You probably do remember this, but do you remember that guy who remade FNaF 1's office in Godot for VR, but it looked like dead accurate to Scott's style? Do you know what I'm talking about? You might remember this.
I know that there's one great VR game that was being worked on. I think by Cool Ben guy. Right?
I don't remember who it was, but there was some guy who was using Godot to make a FNaF VR office remake.
Yeah,
as a
that's
test.
the same guy.
Yeah,
that's the same guy.
And it looks like dead accurate to Scott's style in VR. Like, I was blown away. What was his name again?
I think it's Kuben guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's who it is.
That blew... So on the topic of Godot, that was impressive. I've been...
Oh, yeah.
I want to do something in Scott's, art style from VR, but I just don't understand. In Unity, it's so hard to pull that off, I feel like, lighting-wise.
No, so I think what I've discovered, right...
Without pre-render, that is.
Again, we did pre-render because that was the best that we could do it, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the truth is, we should have done 3D. It should have been 3D. And we've obviously written that wrong for FNaF Movie Game. And what we did for FNaF Movie Game, which of course we'll get into in a second, but what you could do for that is, we'll talk about it later, but you should use baked lighting, right?
I do.
Everything in Blender, right?
I use baked lighting in Unity. I use Bakery.
I think the smart idea is to bake the lighting in Blender, because you can get a perfect Blender session to look just like Scott, right? Bake everything into a texture, throw it in, have no lights in the scene at all. Boom, done.
Then it's all baked to the textures, right?
It's all baked straight to the textures, and it all looks visually the exact same that you want it to look like, and that's the best way to get your best look. And so that's what we discovered, right? And so that's what we did with FNaF Movie Game. Is every single lighting ever in FNaF Movie Game is baked.
Yeah.
I learned a really cool thing. I think Toby will like this. I can't wait to answer it when we get to the FNaF Movie Game question.
Definitely. What I was gonna say is, for the Obsessive Shadow, the game I'm working on, I used to, so when you're developing for MetaQuest, you know, there's like, it's an Android headset, I'm sure you know. So there's a lot of limitations there, but I learned that you can't have tons of real-time lights in your scene, in your Unity scene, when you're doing a quest build. So that was a problem originally, because the whole house in the game was lit up with real-time lights. I would flicker out with an animation to like change the brightness when the lights would go out. But then I realized I'm gonna have to get creative. So I have baked light maps in the house, and when the lights go out, there's just a flashing black like texture in front of your face.
Super smart.
Yeah, that just and then just for the transition to look natural, and then once it's over, the switch to bake light map the entire environment to a completely dark light map sequence.
Super smart.
Using an asset called Bakery, and I love Bakery. Shout out to Bakery. It's a great Unity asset.
Heck yeah, dude. That's the way to do it.
But anyways, thank you. But I'll show you more later when we're in a recording. But let's talk FNaF Movie Game. I think this is a big one. I'm really excited for this one personally. That trailer blew me away. The movie is... I rewatch the movie often, so like I'm hyped for that one personally. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. That one's fully 3D, I assume, right?
Absolutely 3D.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And that one's getting VR support, isn't it?
It is.
Awesome.
It might not be on release, just because we want to make sure that everything is as smooth as possible, and the truth is managing to, like, basically essentially a port would be a bunch of work.
If you guys need help with that, I'm happy to help. I do VR, so let me know if you need help with that.
Yeah. We have Synax.
Synax! I love Synax, dude. He was on my server a while ago. I remember he's still on the server, but I love that guy.
Mm-hmm. He did Nutella VR, and he has a lot of experience with VR, or at least I mean, I can't speak for him, you know. I'm in this call. No,
he's a brilliant guy.
But, he's been working crazy on FNaF Movie Game.
Oh yeah.
So that's the progress on that.
That's awesome. I'm happy for you guys.
I can give a little rundown if you want of
by all means.
FNaF Movie Game. FNaF Movie Game essentially is when I first saw the movie, I wanted to create a game, again, that was, what could we do, because we have such a great team. It's like, could we create a game that looks so photorealistic to the movie that when you look at it, you go, this is really incredible. Like, this reminds me so much of the movie. It puts you back in there, right? And as we did the evolution of the process, we created almost all of the map in Blender, right, as little rooms for optimization. And we created basically essentially a full 3D area that have all the animatronics can walk to, full animations, and it is a full 3D game, which has the animatronics run around. And the basic gameplay concept is you're inside an office looking at 6 different cameras, where you're able to look at 6 different monitors, which you're able to switch between 12 cameras and look around the area, and because there is no door in the FNaF movie game, or sorry, in FNaF movie, in the game, something that's really fun that I've enjoyed a lot is we have this thing called breaker box, where essentially you flip a switch on the breaker box, which causes that area, that camera that you're looking at, to shock. And if they're near that vicinity, it's like Five Nights at Freddy's 3, where they will then go to that camera and they'll just kind of wait there a little bit, and then they'll come back after you.
That's creative.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
The whole game's idea is supposed to be like, they can't be by your door, so what will you do about it? Like, it's very FNaF 3, right?
Oh yeah.
And so the idea is, it's like, but what I think is really fun is that it has to be around the vicinity. It can't be like this idea of, if someone's all the way at the arcade, and like, or if like you want to shock all the way at the arcade and you're in, like, they're in the office hallway, you can't just shock the arcade and like, okay, I'll walk all the way over. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So a part of keeping the gameplay really fun is the idea of actually being able to see them move and seeing them in the cameras. And one of the things that I want to specifically talk about for FNaF Movie Game, but I'll let you ask your question first, is something that has to do with what we just talked about. So I'll see where your questions go, see if I can answer it.
Okay, so before I realized I actually skipped over one of these topics, so this is kind of tied in, though, don't worry. Mm-hmm. I want to answer some fan questions. Do you want to do that first, or did you want to say what you were going to say first?
I'm thinking, let's answer fan questions at the end. Do you mind?
Yeah, that's fine.
We could do like a whole big thing of fan questions at the end and just answer.
I'm gonna move those toward the very end of the list here. You can see I'm probably editing it as we go.
Yeah, perfect.
But anyways, yeah. So I guess what I was gonna ask is there anything you can tell us about FNaF movie game that we don't know already? Like in terms of like public information, is there any new information you can give us?
Basically, give us the
information.
deets.
Yeah, the deets. Okay, the deets. All right.
The tea.
I think what you guys would like, and I think Toby would like to hear this too, just from like, well, at least I'm proud of it and the team. Again, everything is baked lighting, right? But everything is also real-time lighting with the animatronics. So all the animatronics are lit with real Unity lights because they interact with the environment, right? So we have moving characters and moving things. So what we do is we actually have real shadows being casted on top of the baked lighting done in Blender, so that we have the interactable characters walking through these environments, still interacting with it, having the light work, the bloom, motion blur, everything looking perfect. Basically what we did in FNaF RealTime, right? And have it look super solid with real shadows and ambient occlusion, everything like that working perfectly right, but still with the baked lighting being on the whole background. So the only thing that we're rendering is a character. And that's something that I think is really cool, is because we've been able to essentially accomplish like close to movie realism as much as we can, you know.
Yeah, and a game engine, yeah.
You know, I mean, we're not Nixon either, you know. It's like Nixon is like, you know. Also, this is the worst. It's like I can't be in the middle or I become freaking the Ash baby,
like
dude.
Slender Man.
I know. I'm gonna come over here. Like I'm already white, and like the sun just like wants to laugh it in my face, you know. So.
It's
dude, I can't. Over here, it sucks too.
You
just
have,
go just like that. Just lean back.
You have subscribed to White Premium.
Okay, well, I was gonna say.
But seriously, I've had that problem before. I think right now though, it's like, you know, dark, so thankfully I'm good.
All right, yeah, lucky you guys.
Sun setting where I live, so.
California moment.
Right, dude. Seriously, dude. California, it's like it's almost close to sunset already. Frick you, California, dude.
I used to live in California, so I know the feeling.
Yeah, but no, like that's something that like I guess the general public doesn't really know, and that's something I'm really proud of. Is it's like that's our first time stepping into baked lighting, and so to get those characters moving and have it actually interact with the world, that's something I'm really proud of, because one of the things I've taken to heart is optimization. It's like with video files, it's like this is the first game I've ever made. You know, FNaF in real time. It took me a year basically to make the full game, and we've learned along the way. And so to expect us to be perfect at the end, like that's too much of an expectation for us to hold on to ourselves, right? But to do better the next time, that's what we're gonna try and do with FNaF movie game. Make it as immersive as possible. It should also mean, again, in VR, it will hopefully not be super laggy. It hopefully will be, you know, at least possible, you know. So
that's gonna be crazy. Do we know? I don't know if you can answer this. You don't have to, but do we know? Are we playing as Mike, or is that kind of to be revealed? Who we're playing as?
So that actually is something that I guess we share later.
Okay.
Originally, we were going to be Mike, but because the game evolved and we wanted to include our friends on and things like that and like expand the world, we ended up actually doing kind of like a real-time thing where we expand the storyline to be a prequel, similar to FNaF in real time. Only because the biggest thing that had to do with that is not only because it was fun to do that, but the reason that the limitation, right before the fun, the limitation was that to do all the moments in the FNaF movie, it kind of would be like a movie. It's like they have the people break in, and then they have the animatronics, and like you see Mike, and it's like you technically just would not be able to do the story correctly with the gameplay that we have, and to do it good service, right? And it's like it just like my favorite moment from the film is the fort scene, and so to do the fort scene in a game like that where it's supposed to be high paced and like have that sort of energy to it, right? It just really wouldn't work out too well, and that is something that just makes me feel like that's something that you know I would feel bad about, you know, is it's like I don't know if I can necessarily you know give that justice, right? So that's sort of really important to me, is to make sure that it has good justice.
Yeah, I mean that's actually funny. The next question I was asked what your favorite moment from the movie was, so there you go.
Well, now you know.
There you go. I gotta say, dude, I say this a lot to Toby, but I love the break-in scene. I love all the death scenes. Like I love Max's death with the chomp. I love Carl's like cupcake face getting bit off.
Carnage.
I love Hank's R2D2 sounding scream. And I love Jeff's foxy death.
Basically, what I'm hearing is you like watching people get murdered.
Yeah, I was talking to Joseph about the Carl death, and he was telling me there was a lot of lines. You posted the docu interview, right, with him? I don't know if you have, but Joseph, who plays Carl in the movie, he was talking about how he was telling me in VR chat, we were on like the FNaF Pizza Real World, how there was a bunch of scenes that got cut that with Carl. Like there was a scene where it's kind of funny where he's kind of just being a pug. He's like walking around the pizza. He goes onto the stage and he's like, "Huh, smells like piss in here anyway," and then he pees on the stage. That's a real scene that Scott had to cut, and I'm like, I can see why he cut it. Like I can see why he cut that. There's another scene where he's like, where the dog, Bones or Max's dog who got cut from the film. Do you know what I'm talking about? He was like barking a ton, and then Carl's like, "Is this gonna be a problem?" Hank's like, "Yeah." So he puts his earbuds in, and that's where we see that. There's some other things too I forgot, but that's what I remember at least.
Well,
So,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing Max's dog never met William Afton in his
or
car.
or Freddy for that matter, because of what happened to Max.
Right.
I mean, there was apparently a scene where the dog was barking at something that the people couldn't see. So I feel like that should have stayed. The dog should have stayed, man. Justice for Bones.
Justice for Bones.
Bones
Justice
or
for
Bones. I think it was
Bones.
Bonesy.
Ah!
I think it was Bonesy actually, but I feel so weird saying Bonesy because I think of Fortnite when I say Bonesy. So.
I was gonna.
Fortnite.
I have a very strict no Fortnite policy. The only time I've broken it is to do charity streams with Pablo. Only times I've broken it.
Fortnite's fun, man.
So what you're saying is that you're trash. That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
You can't
exactly.
rank
No, I'm saying
he's saying
hashtag
he's trash,
Minecraft for life.
He can't crack 90s and gritty on his opponents.
I get it. No, that's fine. It's cool. Whatever. You're just not cracked like that. It's fine.
Taaryn, we
crack? Well, I'm on crack. Does that count?
Taaryn, we need to run some duos sometime.
Dude, that's a quote right there, dude. I'm not cracked while I'm on crack.
Oh, you know what? We should add it to our quote book, shouldn't we, Pablo?
Oh yeah. No, we should.
We have the quote book that we've been running since 2023.
Separate
Wow.
group chats for each year.
And we
That's
can't
a roll.
publish any of it.
So, I keep actually checking the wrong things here, but so next I was going to ask, how is it working with big creators? Like, what's been fun about working with, like, Dawko and Raz and stuff like that? I saw Raz in the trailer for movie games, so tell us about that experience a little bit.
Yeah. So the truth is, every time I work with anybody who's big like that, it always hits hard and it hits emotionally because, like probably a lot of people, I've been watching these YouTubers since I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
I've been in FNaF Freddy's, since 2014, since the existence of the first game, and when the first game came out, I was 9. I was literally 9 years old. No, I wasn't. I was 8. I was 8 years old. And so to see a game like FNaF Freddy's have 10 years, and then to also see me grow with these creators like Dawko, and be able and been watching him since forever, and then been watching Markiplier and all these people like that, and to see the possibilities of being able to work with some of the people who have been not just legends of the community, but like legends to my life and been really important in that way. It's like I'm always going to have to be humbled a little bit every time I get a message from them or something like that, where they say, "Yo, awesome trailer," or like anything where like we've worked together. It's like that is, at the end of the day, is one of the most special and also kind of soul experiencing moments that like I have to acknowledge in a way as I don't want to say that I've gotten used to it because it happens a lot now, which it does, and that's something. But like every time it happens, I always feel grateful about it. I always take the 10 seconds to stop out and rethink and go like, I'm truly in a special place because they are as much as like content creators sometimes feel like they don't want to be put on a pedestal. There's no help to it. It's like they've done so much and they've done a lot of things to be a part of childhood and also to be a part of just the community in general, that it's like there is not what I think is like this sort of like but there's respect.
Not in
right?
a weird way, but it's like a I look up to you sort of way, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like and I feel like that could happen, and I could feel like there's a lot of expectations with that, but I think my main thing is to just say that there's a lot of respect for them, and so I try and acknowledge that every time I ever try and work with someone. Like I don't ever take that for granted. I've been very happy to work with some of the really cool people in the community, a part of FNaF Movie game. Like what was announced is Salty DK Dan plays a character.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
In the thing, Sister Axe plays the owner of Sparky's Neighborhood Watch, which is a other location that is a part of the FNaF Movie game lore. We have Eamon, who is a guy who I actually know a little bit more now because we've just been chatting, and he is a FNaF YouTuber. He's been doing YouTube for the past couple of years, and he's gotten really big and everything like that. And then of course I've worked with people like 3Fest and have Tholian to chat to and everything like that. And it's like I don't know. It's like I feel like these people who they mean so much. It's like it's special, right? But I still feel like the outsider. It's like I've only been doing this for a year and a half, and as much as we've reached these incredible heights, and we've talked with Matt Pat and things like that, and game theory and things like that, it's like I still feel like it still doesn't feel like I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna get to that point where I'm like, I'm dude, do you even know who I am, buddy? Like I like it's.
I would like to speak to your manager, please.
I would like to speak to your manager. Thank you very much. How dare you? Do you even know how hard it is to put a .webm inside? You didn't.
Fazbear Entertainment not responsible for death or dismemberment to brain damage. Oh my god, I can't talk today.
It's that brain damage, dude. I'm telling you. They're not responsible for it. They're not responsible for it. But yeah, no, it's like it's pretty incredible. In all truth, if I could give any sort of like advice at all, is it's remember that they're still people, but still give them that respect. Like one of the things that I've been trying to balance the most is it's like I'm self-conscious about the way that I talk, the way that I communicate to people, because like I want to make sure that everything I say is accurate and it's respectful, right? And so I've been really trying to make sure that I can balance the right amount of ways to word with people, and I'd say have an emphasis on if you're worried about being a little bit too like overly like, oh but you don't have to do anything because you're like grace to God, like it's like remember they're people too, so it's like you want to respect them but you don't want to overwhelm them. I've been trying to work on that myself, because I don't want to be a nerd who just runs into their face and they're just kind of like, what the fuck do you want? Just tell me what do you just tell me what, like, just tell me what you want, man. Like I don't care that you've been watching me for 10 years. Shut the fuck up. Like I got that part. Like that, like you've said that twice now. Like
yeah, you want to treat them like human beings too, which I respect that. You mean it's good to have that kind of genuine approach, I mean, regardless of size, I mean, it's good that you kind of treat everyone with respect, because I mean, I've seen things where people are just kind of like, oh yeah, this guy famous, whatever. It's like you gotta remember. I mean, like you were saying, people are people, and that's a very good philosophy to have.
Yeah, for sure.
So, the first thing I wanted to say about that, next topic is about the next topic. I cannot talk today. No. What I was gonna say about the next topic is.
I'm so handsome. I get it. Like I get.
What I was gonna say is, what is your end goal as a game developer?
Oh, my end goal, right?
Do you have one?
My end goal would be to work on independent games, or just to do kind of what people have been liking, right? And to do that and be secure and stable. I think that's really what most indie game developers want. If that meant if I left indie game development and I actually worked for a studio, like even if it's an indie studio, right, that would work well. I would seem to be doing really good on the producing side and the marketing side. As much as RealTime FNaF is an indie game, I've also treated it like it is this big emphatic thing, which kind of goes beyond like what some people think indie games are, which wasn't necessarily the goal, but I just noticed that I'm pretty good at doing the trailer side of things, right? And I think that kind of goes beyond just everything that indie games need. Like movies need trailers, I think need trailers. I might want to pursue into trailers, but if it was up to me, I'd love to keep doing my games like this, but be able to be supported by it. And the way that I would do that is I'd make my own indie games, like Pinata Puppy World. And my goal is to make Pinata Puppy World kind of... I hope one day Pinata Puppy World could be a project where people could look at it and they could feel like it's worth it, and then I could hopefully build something from there. Because the thing about RealTime is it's like, as much as it's just a FNaF studio, we're actually more of an animation studio. So we do animation, we do modeling, we do rendering, and it's like if we could just, develop either games or animation or anything like that, it's like we have 3 successful music videos. Like that's really cool, and the animation quality from what I think is really cool, and like that is not just from that one person or that 2-person team creating something. Like those are teams, those are each unique teams developing something unique from a vision, from a song, and bringing it together. And it's like that shows that there's some sort of thing we're doing right. And if I could do that with a game or with music, it just depends. But I'd love to do a producer role in the future. Like I feel like that's really something I love.
I mean, hey man, what I will say about that is So with Pinata Puppy World, first off, I mean, with the audience you built with Real Time, I really do think that it's gonna pop off. I
You gotta
really,
see it first. You gotta see it first. You
I am
can't just say it's
I
gonna
know,
pop
but
up. You gotta
I'm
see it.
what I'm trying to say is I have faith in you, my friend. I'm saying I have faith in you. I am excited to see more from it, but that's kind of our segue into the next topic here. Give us the rundown on Pinata Puppy World. Give us the premise for the
sure.
audience, and any major inspirations for it. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Okay, definitely. I haven't heard that question. I'll definitely get into that. Pinata Puppy World is it is I guess the way that I always like to pitch it is it's like I've always seen these sort of photos online, all right, or places online that feel like these like captured photos of something that's like nostalgic or liminal or the sort of dreamcore aesthetic, and paired with the right music, you can feel this sort of feeling of a little uncertainty. It kind of feels unnerving. It kind of feels a little scary. It could be a little sad, right? And it's this sort of like liminality aspect, right? And you've seen a lot of that done with back rooms and stuff like that, right? Have you ever seen a photo that feels nostalgic, right, from like the early 2000s, maybe even early 90s, you know, like late 2000s, something like that, right? Like even the 2010s. Like, have you ever seen a photo from those sort of eras, and it's made you feel a sort of connection that isn't just scary, like it could be wholesome
Like a melancholy.
or melancholy, right?
Yeah. That's how I get when I listen to the Minecraft soundtrack, like the C14
Right, exactly,
songs.
right.
That exact
Inspiration right there,
emotion,
right?
yeah.
I've never seen a game explore the ideas of going into nostalgia, going into liminality, and going into those other places like that, right?
What level, yeah.
And specifically, instead of focusing on horror, focuses on emotion. It focuses on storytelling. It focuses on what does it feel like if you went straight back into the early 2000s, a thing that feels so photoreal, something that feels like you're actually there and you're present there, and it feels like this is a real place, right? What if you were back there, right? What would it feel like the minute that you saw something? Your first impression was, this feels like a real place. This feels like a place I could have been. Where does your mind wander off to? And what does that have to do specifically with mental health, and just what does that feel like? A big thing about Pinata Puppy World to me is that what we do is we address the sort of relationships between I think what a lot of projects do is they kind of take a place that is from your childhood that could seem similar, and they turn it scary. And I want to find a place that takes a place from your childhood and they turn it emotional. They sort of address the sort of ideas of why does, when you see something like that, why do you feel a sense of melancholiness? What does that have to do? It's like, that's a past time. Why, from just looking at it in general, does it give off melancholy vibes? What does that feel like? How do you dissect that? What does that have to do in relationship with your own mental health? It's like, and that's what nostalgic depression is. And so that's really what Pinata Puppy World is about basically, as you explore the world, right, you are figuratively walking and, you know, taking this step into your memories to figure out your relationship between the past and mental health. And yeah, that's the delivery.
That was very beautifully put, and I relate to this on so many levels because, I mean, I don't know if you see me tweet about it. I tweet a lot about C418's work, Minecraft. So I am a very big person on nostalgia. Nostalgic depression is a very real thing that I felt several times. Even nowadays, I do get it sometimes. I will be honest. And that is just that's something that to be honest with you, I've always kind of looked for in games. So that makes me even more excited for it because, I mean, the only game I can think of right now that makes me feel that at all is Minecraft. Like, it's the only game I ever played that's make me feel that on that true emotional level. Because I mean,
you've seen like Instagram posts and YouTube videos that capture that
oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that before, but there's no games made about it, right? It's
Yeah.
about time.
Like that
right?
one Christmas post of like the school bus, like POV. It's 2008 or whatever, and you're getting off the bus for Christmas break.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
that feeling is so real and authentic. Like.
And so what would it feel like if you had like a POV of some sort of camera recorder or anything like that, where you're there in the world and it feels exactly what it. So like my goal, right, at the end of the day, I want the game that if you look at it just directly by watching it, you can't tell the difference if like when we do real life footage and when we do game engine footage. I want it so that everything feels so tied together that your complete immersion is like, oh, I'm control, or like the goal should be that if you ever watch this from a YouTuber or if you ever watched a clip on this, you can't go, okay, hold on, no, that's pre-rendered, no, that's definitely animated, no, that's gameplay, okay, hold on, no, they shot that for real, wait, that's gameplay, that's what I want, right? It doesn't mean that we got that yet. It doesn't mean that we're perfect, right? But it does mean that we're trying. And the goal should be that, you know, if we happen to get any funding or anything like that, right, for it, it's like we're putting in all of our efforts because we know the way of doing it. We just need to have the resources, right?
Of course.
And so the goal is to just get that as much as possible. I mean, and so what we have so far, I'll probably show you guys the trailer like right after this because why not? You know, that's just the goal, you know.
Absolutely.
So trying our best.
Yeah, I just imagine it's very fun and rewarding to create something that people literally can't distinguish the gameplay versus real life. Like, you know, when you're like, oh, we got it that well. So I guess it's kind of fun in a sense to induce that kind of confusion. You're like, wait,
Absolutely,
we did it. We did it. Mission accomplished.
That should be the end goal, you know.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. That is huge. Like I mean, not only to capture an emotion, but to have a vision like that is just that's something incredible. You know, I mean, I got a ton of respect for that.
Thank you.
So, of course, man. What I was gonna say as well. So, what keeps you motivated as a developer? Like, what keeps you going as a dev?
The truth is, the projects themselves are motivating because they're awesome to seeing them come through, and that's only half the battle. Because, you know, people could be working on a project forever and ever and ever, but if it never releases, it's hard to stay active in that way. It's like, I think half the battle is that your project needs to be great and you need to love it, right? It needs to be something that is worth it. It needs to be something that you fully believe in, and so no matter what the hardships you go through, you're there, right? But I also think half of the battle needs to be prowess, the reward, right? It has to be like, what could it be? What's the future you have for that? What's the sort of expansion you can do for that? Or any sort of like when it's releasing, like how would people like it? How could that help your portfolio or anything like that, right? Because at the end of the day, we make games for fun, but we also make games because we want to be game creators in the future, right?
Absolutely.
And so to not address that, you know, you need a game to be successful or to have a game that can actually do something that could bring you further, right? That is not something that I think is fair if your goal is to be an indie game developer, right? For people who just want to make games and like that's it and they just want to do it for fun, then the truth is that 50% is everything, right? It's like as long as you have fun making the game, you make the game, and if you're not having fun with it anymore, you shouldn't be forced to make that game. It's for you, it's for your own internalness, it's for you to share with fans, right? You have no obligation to get anything done, right? But if you want to be an indie game developer and you want to like be on your own, like you want to be able to provide yourself, the world works with deadlines and times, and that's the sort of thing that gets me stressed out, is because it's like then you have to freaking work on like other people's schedules, and it's like you know, and so it's like but you know, as much as that's sucky, it's like you have to always address it because it sucks to work on real studios, but you know, if I can you know make some success doing what I can do, hopefully I don't fall into any other ways where it's like there's a possibility for us in this team. Our goal is to make games and you know do animation projects and be able to sustain ourselves, and so that's what we're doing, and it's a team effort. You know, it's like it's not just me, because you know, like I do the management and the music and social media, but it's like, but I don't code and I don't model. It's like this is not what I do, and so for me to be able to manage with them, my goal is to, if this ever turned into a real job, they could have the best experience possible, and they could have the happiest, most like the best experience possible doing anything within like in development at all. It's like that. I want that to be me, and I want that to be our project. I don't want to. I want to make sure that, you know, like when they're working with us, it's like they get to do what they want, and they get to have fun with what they want, and we get to make it serious so that, you know, in the future, you know, if we ever find a success with Pinata Puppy World or anything like that, right, we're stuck to here and we're like this, you know. And that's why I have this team that we haven't budgeted on for like the past 6 to 7 months. It's like, no, we are stuck like right here for RealTime Studio. And so that's you know, that means a lot, you know, because that means we're honest with each other, and we open up about like when people could be doing better, or like when I could be doing better, because I'm not perfect, and I definitely have not ever I've not like ever made a mistake. I released like 2 music videos before the game came out, like like, you know, there's been mistakes, but we're open and we're honest, and that's really important. We gotta keep that together, and to have that team, that's also motivating.
Communication is key, of course.
Exactly. Put your comms on, man. Channel 2.
So what I was going to ask you is, did you ever expect anything you worked on to reach this level of reach?
No. No, not at all. I understand now that it did. Like, I get that. Like, I understand it. But, I think I have a certain like idea when it comes. This is so annoying. I hate this. Ash baby, please. Wait, is this no? Okay.
I'm gonna make a meme out of that later.
Yeah. But I never did expect it. No. I kind of have this thought about fame. I think that everyone's lucky. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think that there's some sort of like key that you can get where it's just like, oh, great job, you got the algorithm or something like that.
There's no
and
formula,
you knew
yeah.
that the whole time. You knew like I don't think that's how that works. I think how it works is I think it's about everyone can get lucky. Like I can guarantee you right now, you know somebody who puts in all the work and knows all of the tricks and isn't successful. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
You know that person. That person could be you. You know, it's like, and so my message to that is, it's like, don't beat yourself up about it if you're not popular like RealTime has or something like that. From something like that, it's like, I don't think that's because RealTime was so incredible that it earned that, right? I think we got lucky, and I think now that we got lucky, it's about how good can you be until you're lucky, or how good are you when you're lucky to keep that and to be putting in those good efforts to build that, right? And so every single day, every single minute, every single year that you keep putting effort in and you haven't hit it big yet, you're going to be 30 times better than that one guy who hits it big and then crumbles because they don't know what to do.
Yep. What I'll say is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. That's
I'll say,
totally it, yeah.
What Scott himself said on Docky's interview, what Scott Cawthon said on Docky's interview was, with FNaF 1, it was just the right set of ingredients at the right time, I think is what he said.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of a similar thing to what you have with RealTime. I think it was just the right set of ingredients at the right time, you know, and it just worked out, and I'm obviously really happy for you guys with that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong, but that's just where I stand on that.
I think that's why I think that there has to be said about fame doesn't happen from hard work. I need that to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Fame does not, like, you will not, hard work doesn't equal fame. That's unfortunate. It's like, it's a lot of luck.
Oh yeah.
But I think hard work equals like persistence. I think that if you get that fame and you have the right mindset, you have the hard work, then you can keep that, and that will turn.
Oh, yeah.
And that hard work will equal you to have the much better position. It's like, that will be what's worth it to you at the end of the day. If you don't do any of that hard work and then you just get the fame, you're gonna crumble and you're not gonna get successful, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like,
it's all putting in the hours.
Hard work, right. I think. Oh, hold on. This is perfect. Hard work does not equal fame, but hard work does equal success. Does that make sense?
Yep, which is ultimately more important.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything you want to add to that, Toby? I just want to make sure I'm not cutting off.
RealTime guy, man. He's so annoying.
No, it's just.
I just want to make sure I'm not leaving it out.
Really, no, because that really is true. How, you know, sometimes just you can, you know, getting famous doesn't, you know, it's not exactly the. I mean, sometimes it can be, but it's not always the result of how much. It's not proportional to how much effort you put in. Sometimes it is the. I mean, and not that doesn't mean it's not. And not that means it's undeserved. I'm just saying, like, you know, you can try forever to make something, but sometimes you just need to make something at the right time. Like, you know, when FNaF released in 2014, that was, I remember hearing that was like the height of the horror game craze. Like, so stuff like that was a popular thing.
It was unique for the time too.
Yeah, it was. Like, genuinely speaking, I wonder what horror games would look like had it not released then, because honestly, a lot of the way that a lot of horror games now, like there's like, so you know how I think it was this older game. I think, you know how some people will say there are like pre-Doom and post-Doom eras of games. There's like pre-FNaF and post-FNaF eras of games as well. Like, you can sometimes you can tell the FNaF influence.
It's like 2013
direct reference as well.
It's like 2013 BF before FNaF, and then 2014 AF after FNaF.
We're gonna need a before Chipper as well.
Oh yeah, AC after Chipper. So last thing I wanted to kind of ask you before we get into fan questions is, are there any other big projects or anything else in general that you want to talk about or bring out to the podcast?
If you asked me this a month ago, I would have said no, because, you know, Pinata Puppy World, I mean, like, besides, you know, but it's like, because Pinata Puppy World was still in development and everything like that, and like, we don't have things there. But the truth is, no, because, oh my god, fans would kill me. I used to, while I was taking my break, I had like a couple of other things I wanted to do. I had a Deltarune song I wanted to make. two Deltarune songs, one with longest solo ever, and one that was just my own fan Deltarune song. I had like a music video and stuff like that. But that's on hold because, again, the focus has to be up on FNaF RealTime, Movie Game, and Pinata Puppy World because that's 3 freaking games. That's enough already. Like, damn. Like, you want me to do more? Like, no.
Yes, we're gonna crack the whip. Get to work, Taaryn.
But no, it's like you know, for me, it's like I had a lot of fun balancing some things, but I'm really confident locking in on these 3 games. You know, it's like I used to do that with like other songs and stuff like that, and it's like the truth is there's some songs on it that I was trying to work on for December, and they're on the back burner. Like, it's not happening. I had this song with JR Music, and it's a great song, but dude, I am swamped working on FNaF RealTime and Movie Game and Pinata Puppy World. So it's like I need to actually focus on what matters. You know, we have a huge fan base for these games. I mean, Pinata Puppy World trailer got a lot of views on Twitter, and so people at least know about it, right? So we need to prove that we can do something really cool, right? And so I need to focus on that more than anything. So, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, no, not for right now. Actually, I will be cooking something from the Finance of Freddy's cookbook tonight, so I guess that's what I'm working on.
Let him cook.
I was about to
I'm
say
not
that.
cooking anything from that. Oh man, that
Who let him
that
cook?
roasted your ass.
Who let him cook?
Yeah.
Okay, so are we good for fan questions?
Yeah, for sure. Do
Cool.
you guys have any of them?
I have them pulled up. I can screen share if you want. I can read them
Yeah,
out to you.
because I want to go look at it, but if I
Oh,
go
whoops,
over
wrong
here,
Okay, there we go. I have them pulled up. We'll start with Gamejolt.
let's take a
So
look.
in my Fluencer era, that's a great name. Cool Ant 420 says, "Have you ever heard of WarioWare? Also, where there be any mention of the purple guy animatronic or Sparky the dog in FNaF and RealTime?"
I could answer 2 of those things. Have you heard of WarioWare? I think if that's just Finance at Warriors, then yes, that was like one of the OG fan games. Like that was an OG. I remember the This Is Sparta Wario remix for Finance at Warriors. So definitely. But there's not gonna be any purple guy animatronic. That's just not a thing. Sorry. But Sparky, we don't know. We don't know. So, you know, we'll have to see.
Actually, I do gotta say just one thing. WarioWare is actually a game series by Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
No, you're fine. No worry. You're fine. I know what you mean.
I thought of it. Hey, hold on. Questions about FNaF in RealTime, Movie Game, and Pinata Puppy World. So what about WarioWare?
What about
Like,
WarioWare?
Okay.
My greatest achievements.
Oh gosh, please, just no more Ash Baby. I just can't anymore. I'm still there.
Mike,
Taaryn's about to get mad.
watch. Taaryn's about to build the anti-suninator.
It's just that little blob there, dude.
Like that.
That's so
Okay,
funny.
I'm
If
back.
you sit in
All
front
right,
of it,
I'm back.
okay, there you go.
I'm back.
Okay,
I just have a holy light behind me.
yeah, you just have max aura.
Max Aura.
Okay.
Terrible.
Yeah, brain rot. So Alex Pro Max asks, "I would like to ask if there will be some kind of plot in the game, and say it will be necessary to complete tasks of the night as if it was a FNaF parody in Jollibee." I'm not sure which game is referring to. I feel like we kind of covered that, right?
Jollibee's
Oh, I know
was
Jollibee.
a fan game by Ivan G, but it
Yeah.
it got copyright struck off the internet.
I know I'm
Yeah.
just saying because, like,
And
I
now
don't know if
it's
he's referring to
Jolly.
RealTime or FNaF movie game. I don't know which one he's referring to, but either way, I
A
think...
lot
yeah.
of people just seem to ask questions even though it had nothing. I don't know. Any other plot to the game? To all of them, yes. All 3 of them have story. Will it be necessary to complete some tasks after the night? A lot of people ask for after the night. Technically, yes, but not in the way you think. It's not going to be like sister location. It's going to be in
Thank
some
God.
sort of mini map. You're going to see. It's cool. It was featured at the end of the FNaF in RealTime is back video. So there's a little bit of a mini map quest that you're going to have to do to complete night 6 and 7. So
Cool. Next, we have from Vintrap146. What are the 3 projects... I'm trying to translate. What are the 3 projects
out of the 3 projects,
you enjoyed to develop the most?
That's just mean. I would
Which
say
out of the
one
three
that
projects? I misread it. Sorry. Go ahead.
it's really hard to say. FNaF in Real Time has brought me the most fun experiences. FNaF Movie Game, I think, is the most visually rewarding. And Pinata Puppy World, well, I mean, Pinata Puppy World visually looks better, but but Pinata Puppy World has been completely my project and my team, and it's just been really smooth development. So it's like I'm not going to pick one, but I'm going to say that those are the main aspects from all of them. You know.
I'm excited for all that, man. What will the night difficulty? I don't
What
really
will
understand.
the night difficulty?
Yes.
No.
I feel like we kind of already asked this one, and yes, I feel like we already asked this one. Kind of the challenges. Any
Yeah.
future projects, or is that kind of all that's on the back burner for now?
Yeah,
Or
all
all
that's on
kind
the
of-
back burner.
I mean, all the
I'm so sorry to anybody who is desperately waiting for the Deltarune song, but no, that's on the back burner.
Will it have a demo? Will either of these games have a demo? I know RealTime's already had a
Pinata
demo.
Puppy World, maybe. I don't
Mhm.
know. But I know that FNaF Movie Game will most likely have either a demo or a soft launch. I think we're just going to go straight to soft launch.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
really close. I think we're just going to release a soft launch in like the next couple of months,
Cool.
and then just like have it be the whole story, have it be really fun, and that's it. And just walk away and then update it, when we can and stuff like that. I think that's the goal.
I'm gonna skip this one from I'm in your walls, but could you make
Yeah.
could you make that one download of FNaF Real Time? Okay, there's asking about buying the original. I'll probably cut this part out. Unless you want to answer that.
In no way possible can we legally do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Wait, sorry, can't legally do what?
Could you make that download FNaF in Real Time without buying the original? Is what they asked.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'll probably cut that part out.
Even games with those checks have gotten striked.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, so will Puppy World be on Steam? Is another one from Navy Moon 02.
Yes, definitely. It'll be on Gamejolt and Steam. So it'll have a dual platform there.
Cool.
Because we want to include our Gamejolt fans. But also that Haz, I hate you. He's my goat. He made this. I hate him. But no, it'll have a Steam release as well, though, definitely.
Awesome.
Because our goal is to make it, like a more proper game, and we want to differentiate it from our FNAF stuff. So
For sure.
definitely we want to do this.
But the question is, will we see Brother do this in real-time FNAF? That's the real question.
I'm devastated by ever asking this question, Has 19. I know where you live, dude. I know where you live. All right.
He knows
so
where you
I
live.
think next time you ever.
You should dox him on the.
It's a great idea. Yeah. Oh yeah. I have no experience with
He
that.
lives at. Okay, so Gore Dobis. FNAF Real Time will have more games. There will be My Precious Boy, Springtrap. FNAF Movie Game have the same lore as the movie, their own lore or a rewritten lore of the movie. Can you please give us more info about Pinata Puppy?
Okay. FNAF in Real Time will not have more. Yeah. FNAF in Real Time will not have more games, most likely. I'm sorry, but I don't think we're gonna do FNAF 2. I was really scared of saying that because I know a lot of people want FNAF 2 in real time, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna let someone else do that. Like, dude, so many other people, like, that Roblox game that has freaking FNAF 2, that's already FNAF 2 in real time. Who cares? Just play that game. That game's amazing.
That or like Mr. Freddy's stuff in Deluxe Edition 2 was also really good.
but Deluxe isn't really real time. Deluxe is Deluxe, right? So
I'm
it's
just saying, like, some of the animations, I'm just saying, kind of reminds you of it.
The animations are good. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For FNAF Movie Game, again, it'll be a part of the same universe as if it works in the same universe, but technically it'll be like a prequel, but it won't overwrite anything that happens with the FNAF movie game. There's FNAF movie. Unless, of course, in the sequel, of course, everything will become mute because whatever. The sequel, we don't know anything about it, so I'm assuming it'll obviously rewrite some stuff, but whatever.
Oh, sorry, was that your answer? I didn't want to cut it off.
No, that's it.
Oh, cool. So what was your what was your favorite moment developing FNAF in real time?
Let me do another one because we already talked about the cherry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I have to say that also look at that Pop Goes place. That looks super interesting. The actual thing. It's so interesting. I don't know what style he's going for. Is he going for realistic? Or is he going for stylized? It's hard to tell.
Kind of looks like a mix.
Cool.
Looks like a more modernized Scott style to me.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was your favorite moment from FNAF in real time?
It's from developing it, yeah.
Yeah, from developing it. Probably getting to see. Most recently, it's been being able to play the game start to finish, having all of the storytelling go from start to finish and having it be done. Like that means so much, and we've been in that. We've been in a state where you can play the full game start to finish for the past couple of weeks, and like, dude, that feels amazing. It feels amazing to just hit it up and play it for like 4 to 5 hours, and then get the ending and have you be like, that was the full experience. Like that feels great. We have to hop on. We gotta play test FNaF RealTime sometime,
Yeah,
guys. Like,
I'm down. I'm down.
I'm curious. Are you gonna make FNaF movie game in VR? Yeah, it will be in VR. Probably not on the soft launch again. It'll probably be an update. But you know me and my trailers. All right. Once we get it an update, it'll be all big and stuff like that. I'll blow it out of the water and make it a whole big deal, and everyone will be like, "God, you always do this shit," and I'll be like, "I know."
Will it have a standalone Quest port? Is what they're also asking, or are we just doing PC VR for that game?
I don't know. I don't know that process.
Because a standalone Quest, you have
I'm not even familiar.
So standalone Quest, you have like side. I mean, if you know Euro with the sister location fan game, he put a standalone Quest port out on the side Quest platform, which is basically itch.io for VR Quest games. They like promote a lot of them too for free, so that's a good platform. I think you should check out. SideQuest is a good one. I'll send you some of their stuff, like their links and stuff. But that's a good platform to put your VR stuff on if you're doing standalone Quest stuff. But you can also put your PC VR links there too.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
All right.
But yeah, okay. I guess that's everything. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we close? Thank you for joining us, Taaryn. I appreciate you. It was fun having you on the podcast. I love hearing your story. I love hearing about your work. I'm very excited for everything you're working on, and keep it up, man. Just keep going with it.
Absolutely. I'm trying my hardest. I'm literally, now that we have like kind of wrapped up everything, I'm back to fucking editing right now. Like
never stop the grind.
Dude, never stop the grind. I can't. I got to get back to it, dude.
Like, I love it. I love it. All right, well, I'm Pablo, Toby. Thank you for co-hosting, and Taaryn, thank you for joining us. I will see you guys in the next podcast episode. I'll see you guys later. Check out FNaF in Real Time on Twitter, YouTube, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the next episode.
Hit us up on Gamejolt. It's going to come out on December 23rd.
Yeah!
Release date. Now we're expecting. We're gonna hold you to that.
Is it the first time anyone's hearing the release date?
Yes, it is. But at the end of the day, hold on, because it's a little bit more laid back here, right? I just want to say again, if we need a couple of days, we'll need a couple of days. That's why we're not saying the release date yet, right? We're only going to say the release date the minute that the EXE is done, right?
Yeah.
So
So we won't publish the episode until you're ready to publish it, then, right?
You can. I just recommend, by the way, just publishing it the day RealTime comes out, only because that's people are gonna watch it then.
Okay,
it's
got
like
it.
people will then click on it more, and it'll get more.
Yeah, that gives me time to edit anyway. This has been a much longer episode.
The views here.
We just hit the 2-hour mark. This is longer than the first episode, so
yeah, it's double the length of the first episode.
Yep. So that means we're in for a long editing session. But thank you, Taaryn, and thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good rest of your day, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
The Raves Podcast.